Hey, everybody. Come on. I found it. The show's about to start.
I'm Rod Harder, and he's Vinny Dappio, and you're listening to the Specialty Marketing Consultants Profit Lab podcast. Welcome to Specialty Marketing Consultants. This is the second podcast. This is a big deal in our world, Benny, because we conquered the first one. We put that rascal together, even threw in a little background music for the world to enjoy behind our voices.
And you know what was great about that one, pal? You know what was great? It was so frickin' true when we first researched about making your premier podcast. What'd they say? You're going to think your first one is great, but then you're going to do about 6 or 7 more times and realize, oh, my God. It was worth it.
Right. It was a test, and we had some challenges like anybody that does this has. But here we are now. We're in our second podcast, and it won't be long before we'll be doing our 20th one. So pretty cool.
And from your lips to God's ears, what are we going to talk about today?
Today's subject is one that's near and dear to my heart. It's copywriting, but not just writing copy. It's putting personality in your copy, and any way that you communicate with your prospects, your clients, your customers, patients, if you're a doctor's office or in that service area, you have to have a relationship with everybody you want to attract, people that you want to convert, and those you want to keep over the lifetime of your relationship with them. So that's the subject today.
Yeah, but a lot of folks don't realize, Rod, what you're talking about is basically writing with personality. In other words, let them see who you are, because once you let people know who you are and what you're about, guess what you build? You build trust. And once you and you can only do that with honesty.
Right.
And being honest with your prospects is letting them know who you are, not just what you represent, but who you are. Let your personality come out in your writing.
Exactly. And most people, they drop the ball here because when it comes time to writing, they get behind their keyboard and they tighten up and they think they have to write some formal letter. Your prospects, the people you want to attract to your business and the people that you want to keep and have relationships over the long haul, they want you to step from behind the curtain and not be a business. They want to do business with a human being.
Right, and that human being they want is you.
Right.
So you got to let them know up front the way you write is the way you are. That's writing with personality. Here's a great little drill. Next time you're going to have a conversation with a friend, bring a little tape recorder, or everybody's telephone today records. Hit the record button and sit down with a good friend and have a conversation. Talk for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and then end that and listen to it and decide, gee, was my personality friendly? Was it businesslike? Was it matronly? Was it dull as a bag of hammers? Because if it is, you'll find that out right now. This is not for you.
Well, when you're sitting out back, when you're sitting out back with your friends or your family and you're having a beer and cooking a steak, it flows out of your mouth without you thinking about it. Yeah. But when people transfer that to business, they think they have to be some formal structure. And granted, I guess when you get into certain arenas, that's the case. But 99% of the time, it isn't. That's not what your clients and prospects want to hear.
No, the last thing they want today, and we all live through this, Rod. You know it, I know it, and anybody listening knows it. You go into a store and you feel like a number instead of a customer anymore. You don't have any kind of a relationship with that store. You're just there because it was price driven. People miss dealing with people, and the sooner you let people know who you are in your writing, they're going to want to read your stuff. They're going to want to buy your It's really a basic, but it's not easy to do.
It
like
is.
I said, if you've got a really dull personality, you're going to end up writing dull, and guess what? You shouldn't be doing this for a living anyhow. Then let someone else do your marketing. You should be doing it. We should. But either way, writing with personality makes that bond almost immediate with your customer.
I have studied this stuff for 15 years now, writing with personality and studying direct response copywriting. But I just find that you have somewhat of a natural talent for it, and you write at a level of personality that it has taken me years to perfect. And you just have the gift. Yeah, yeah.
And you know, that didn't just come. That got developed over years and experience. You know, if I were to sit down right now and let's say I'm reading this to you, okay? Make believe I'm reading. As I look upon what I see, instead, if you write it that way, you sound like a professional, cold-hearted Shakespearean.
Right.
But if you were to write it in a way of like, the other day I was looking, you write it naturally. What flows from you, it goes to them. And again, there we go. The trust starts. You're building a trust.
One of the best lessons that I ever learned early on in my career after I retired from my first career, I went to work in the mortgage business. And,
I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that.
So I was in the mortgage business, doing okay. It just so happened that my daughter had graduated from college, and she was looking for a starter job. So she became my partner. She was my processor. And we did okay together. We did okay.
Okay. But she was your right arm.
She was. She was. But whenever we were in front of clients, we played the role. She called me Rod, and I called her Christina, and we never referred or told anybody we were related. And I had a business coach at the time, and he accidentally heard me bring this up in a meeting, and he said, "Hold it. You mean to tell me your daughter works with you and you're keeping it a secret?" I said, "Well, I thought that would be best, that not be shared with my clients." And he said, "That's your big separator. You've got to tell the world about that." So we did. We started to put it.
You big idiot.
So I started to make it a major part of my marketing, my newsletter, everything we sent out to clients. And you know, that is what separated us from all the other mortgage people. That here's a guy working with his daughter. They've got to be real. They've got to be sincere. It accidentally happened.
Well, you want to know what you did, buddy? You added some personality.
Yes, exactly.
People like personality. They want you.
Right.
That's it. When they buy you, you're not going to have to sell them your product. They're going to want to buy it from you because they like you. What about our buddy Howard?
Right.
Okay. Now, there's a guy. If I were to tell you that I know someone who owns their own business, and when he walks into his 5 biggest accounts, the first thing they do is grab and they thank him, and they hug him, and they think he just hung the moon. And you want to know why? Because he did, and he did it with his personality. You're going to learn how to write with personality.
Well, now we've taken his business because Howard, while he is a friend, we're doing marketing for him. He is a client, and Howard now has a newsletter going out every month. He now has a special letter going out to his top clients. He has several things where he's touching his prospects and his customers on a regular basis, and all of them are focusing on his personality.
And by the way, he's just one of the success stories. That remember when we told you in the first episode we're going to have testimonials and people call? He's one of them. He's one of the guys that are going to say, "Guys, I didn't believe it a year ago, but guess what? I can't believe I did without this all these years." And it's going to be real, true life stuff. Trust me.
Yeah. And I think for the average business owner listening to this today, they're probably making a mistake that they're not communicating with their prospects, their customers, and the people who are giving them money. They're not in touch with them enough. And unfortunately, the role that most of these business owners play is when they need sales to go up, they put out a letter. Or when they're announcing a service or a new product, they put out a letter. Writing with personality means a constant, ongoing relationship. That's the key word, relationship.
Yeah. That's important in the business world. If you really don't have a relationship with your customers, and you know what, you might as well be Walmart or BJ's or Costco's. You don't care who walks through the door as long as they're coming through the door, dropping a dime and leaving. And you know what, you got to depend on volume then. And that's not the way to run a business without any true, huge, deep pockets. You got to be careful how you spend your buck, and you're going to spend it wisely. You know, one of the greatest ways I thought about when it came to writing with personality, Rod, think of it like you're going to be writing a letter to an aunt or an uncle.
Right.
You don't want it to be too familiar, like a best friend. You might use a couple of curse words or whatever, but you don't want it to be too aloof or afar.
Right.
You want it to be as if you're writing to a relative. Think
Right.
of it that way, and that's the personality you should let out in your writing.
Right. Warm, sincere, friendly.
Exactly. Yeah. Almost close family-like, but it's the distant aunt that you would write to twice a year. What would you say in that letter to her, and how would you say it?
Right.
Now, convert that to how strongly do you feel about your business, and what are your feelings of it? Put that in your newsletters, your emails, your direct response marketing ads, whatever.
Exactly.
It's writing with personality. And there's drills and everything we can lead you to. And trust me, it's going to make a difference, and you're going to hear from folks in the future that it made a difference for.
You tapped into something that I think it's worth sharing right now, is that we're developing a lot of these tools for the website. And anybody listening today, if you're trying to get better with your writing, or there's some things you want to learn how to do better, just go to Specialty Marketing Consultants, and you'll see a lot of the tools there that'll help you sort of kickstart and give you, some of the things that you need to know to help you get better at this. It's like riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
And everything you're going to get out of there is going to be nothing but helpful. And if it's not, you know what George Carlin said, the radio comes with two knobs. You could turn the channel or turn it off.
Right. And that is the magic of this, because we want to give people choices. You can do it yourself. You can learn this on your own. You can learn it with our help through these podcasts and other things we provide. Or you can sort of go out there on your own and try another resource. The secret, though, is get better at what you're doing, because the better your relationship is with your prospects and clients, the farther you're going to go, the faster your business will grow. And a lot of this came to me because I was slow to learn it. I was stubborn. I thought I knew how to do all this until I hung my hat on some of the world's best writers out there, and I began to study them, and I realized I was really doing it all wrong. So, the most successful people I've ever met in business remain students of the game. Whenever you think you're too big for the room is when you're the one that needs it the most.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's so true.
I like that. Say that again.
I will not.
I missed it.
I will not say that again.
Come on.
Well,
that was good. Just like when you came over to attract them and convert them and keep
right.
them. This guy knows his stuff, folks.
Yeah, and that, of course, that is what our 3 business pillars: attract them, convert them, and keep them. That's your business in a nutshell from a marketing perspective. And if you don't have that formula working for you, that's what this is all about, to help you fuel the energy of your marketing to get better at it, because the next lead that you have is the lifeblood of your business. Here's another big mistake that I see business owners make. They spend most of their energy, most of their time looking for new business, when it costs about 6 to 7 more times to find a new customer than it does to keep the ones you already have, who know, like, and trust you. And yet all of us make the mistake of going out and trying to throw that big net over new business, when you have a herd of people that if you just keep them happy, if you just show them you care, boy, things happen. They start referring others to you, and your business grows. But it's a tragic mistake, but I did it myself. I did it for a long time the wrong way.
Corralling your customers is another way to look at it. That's the keep them portion of attract them, convert them, and keep them.
Exactly.
And you know what? Probably about 85% of the folks out there don't even realize what a valuable asset it is, the retention factor. It's a powerful thing that a lot of folks, and there's no fault in it, Rod. Everybody looks to the future. That's what you're supposed to do when you're in business for yourself. You can't just sit there stagnant. You always look to the future, but you got to keep that third eye on the past.
Right.
Because that retention rate is extremely important in any folks, I don't care if you're a dentist or a landscaper. You got to understand the value of retention. And retention starts with, like we started the conversation with today. If you start writing with personality, people develop a trust and a like for you, and you'll have them. You'll have them for a long time.
Well, and it really takes so little because all they want to know is you give two hoots about them. And as I said, I've been guilty of this in the past, is I'm so hell-bent on finding new customers that I ignored the people who have already given me their hard-earned money. So anyway, it's a valuable tool that I cannot overemphasize. And Vinny, here's the three pillars of our business. Basically, all three of these, once you start to implement these into your business, they're systems that once you get them up and running and tweak them, you have to constantly do a little bit to them, but the system sort of runs itself. And that's what we're going to cover in other podcasts. Most businesses make the mistake of starting over every month, whereas if you put a little time up front and build these systems, they will work perpetually for you. And that's when I call having several lines over the boat. You want to be looking for new business, you want to be taking care of the ones you have, and you also want to be converting business that's coming to you.
Exactly. Well, buddy, I'll tell you what, I can't. What are we going to do for the third podcast?
The next time we get together, we're going to be talking about lead generation, which everybody likes to know about. But here's the big difference maker with this lead generation. I, like many business owners, always feel like lead generation is the kind of stuff you go on the internet and you pay, $1 a piece for, and you get these generic pieces of garbage that nothing's been processed or qualified. The lead generation that we're going to help you do, we're going to talk to you about developing a system, is you attract people by giving away something that of value, something free that your prospects want to have from you. But we'll get into that the next time we hook up, and I think all you have to do is click on iTunes to get the next episode. I want to take a second before we go to hang up, buddy. Let's give everybody a quick tool. You touched on it a minute ago about doing an exercise to see if you're writing with personality. And it is one that I do all the time. Whenever I get hung up and I cannot get the words to come out, I back away from my keyboard and I'll go walk down the hall and turn on my smartphone and just say what I'm thinking. And it comes out. I go back, I play it, and it's more natural. It's far more friendly. So lean heavily on your tablet, your smartphone, your computer, and let that stuff pass through your lips and let it dictate it into your electronic device and play it back.
That's great advice, buddy. Add that on to what we said much earlier. Have a conversation with friends, your family.
Right.
Record it.
Right.
Analyze it. Rod just brought up a super point. When you're sitting down at your computer, next time you're going to start writing a letter, let's say, don't write it with your business in mind. Write it with your feelings about your business in mind.
Right.
And see if it makes a difference. You're going to find yourself shortening things up. You don't need to get wordy or lengthy, but you need to let them know that they're not just dealing with your company, but I want you to know you're dealing with me, and this is how I operate.
Right.
It works. It works.
There's a great story about a fisherman up in the area of New York. Montauk, is it Montauk, New York?
Long Island. Yeah,
right.
Long Island, yes.
And this fisherman would go out for the big tuna and the white sharks, and even when other veteran seasoned fishermen weren't catching any fish, this guy would always go out and come back successful. And, these guys hang around in the old crusty bar up there, and everybody says, why are you successful when others like you, we're veteran fishermen, we're not catching any? And he said, most of you guys think like fishermen. I think like the fish. Yeah, and that's the secret. We write and communicate and market to our customers like we want. What we need to be thinking more about is what our customer is, who our customers are, and we write like we are them. And you have to be the fish. You have to be your prospect.
See, now you're getting into another episode. So
yeah, absolutely.
Podcast, but that's great advice.
Well, we'll close it up for today. Vin, thanks for your input and advice, and we'll do more on copywriting in coming episodes. But for now,
Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you again at the next podcast.
We'll bid you a great day. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.